Hello everybody. Today I'm bringing you a review of another Bluetooth speaker. And this one is the VicTsing, and I really hope I'm saying that correctly, the VicTsing Soundhot C6 Bluetooth speaker. As you can see, it's about the size of a nice hard bulb, and it's not that thick at all. And you already seen this on the back. It is a suction cup, which is removable. It does take a little bit of force to get it out, but you can get it out. So yes, already you can tell you can use it in the shower. And it is 100% waterproof, so you can by all means put it in your shower. If you happen to be outside when it's raining and it gets wet, you don't have to worry about it. The only thing I would suggest is right here where you charge it, there's a little flap, has the little USB symbol on it. Just make sure that flap is completely closed. So what you should do is always run your finger over it a few good times to make sure it's pressed in, just so no water can get into the USB port, okay? But it is 100% waterproof. Now, not only is it Bluetooth 4.2, but it does support A2DP. It is a 5-watt speaker, and at 70% volume or power on this thing, you can get up to 6 hours. You can actually get up to 8 hours if you have this turned down kind of low, but turn your volume up all the way on their device, and that way you can get a little bit better play time out of it. Now you can also make and take calls on this. They're okay, it's average, it's nothing special, it's not spectacular, but you can take and make calls, so what do you expect, right? It does have a 500 milliamp hour battery, and it takes about 2.5 hours to charge it. Not only do you get the speaker, but they do give you a micro USB charging cable, and they give you a little carabiner or carabiner, whatever they're called. And as you can tell, you got this little loop right here up on the top. You just simply take it, flip it in there, turn it around, and you can hang it on, heck, you can hang it on your collar if you like. But you can hang it on your belt hoop, throughout your pocket, on your backpack, whatever you may like. And there you go. Now the first thing I'm going to do, before I really get into my thoughts about this speaker, is I'm going to have this mounted about here. I'm going to mount it on another little stand that I have, and I'm going to play some music for you, a good couple songs, probably around 6 or 7 songs, but not complete songs, just maybe, you know, anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds worth of each song, just so you can kind of have an idea of what it sounds like. But just remember, this is from YouTube, so even though this may sound great on my computer, the video, because it's raw, when I upload it to YouTube, they compress the heck out of it. And then it has to be, it's not fully decompressed when it hits your device that you're listening to this video on. But I thought I would at least give you some kind of an audio example. So enough of me yakking, let me get right down to the audio sample. Okay, so now you heard the sound sample, and you already know then that when you turn it on or off, you'll hear
power off.
It is voice prompted for when you turn it on or off, like you just heard.
Power on.
And when you get all the way, the thing with this though is for the controls, the plus side is on one, the minus side is on the other. That's for either skipping the track or turning the volume up and down. You do a quick press on it to skip your track, and then you got to press and hold to turn the volume up or down. And when you get all the way up on the volume here, what you will hear is you get that little woo woo, if you will. And to take calls is pretty much the same thing. You hit this button here, which is your play and pause button, which will control your device. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up since everything is black. And I already showed you the micro USB port on the back here. Or not on the back, but on the other side. Now, one thing I noticed, not just with this speaker, but all of the Bluetooth speakers I've ever tested, and you can go back and watch any of those videos if you like. A lot of it does, when you're listening back to music on any Bluetooth speaker, believe it or not, a lot of the sound quality does depend upon the device you are using. I have a Microsoft phone, a Lumia 640 phone. Yes, it's old. And I also have a Nexus 7 tablet. And I do have a Apple iPod Touch 5. To be honest with you, the Nexus 7, it's horrible. I would never ever suggest anyone to put music on that and listen to it to a Bluetooth speaker. It basically sounds like you're listening to something through a tin can with that. Okay, I don't know how they EQ it, because I even one time spent hours trying to EQ it to make it sound good, and it just didn't work. My Apple iPod Touch 5, that thing runs, in my opinion, and with my ears, it runs a little on the high end of the sound. What I mean by that is the bass frequencies is kind of lowish. You really can't hear the bass. It's just like they tune that down, and they would rather have you have more mid-range and high-end in the mix when you're listening back. I've tried playing around with some sound settings in there, and I can never get it to sound right. Now with my Lumia 640 phone, I love the sound in that. It's when I'm playing my music through my Lumia, it's nicely well balanced. I get a great amount of bass and low end out of it, and the mid-range is just spot on. And it just punches through the mix, and the high end is really, really tamed on that, meaning like you don't get those really ear-piercing screeches, you know, something to make you kind of do a little bit of a cringe. You don't get that. Now back to the speaker. This speaker I like this speaker. It's becoming one of my favorite speakers. Yes, it's not that loud, it's only 5 watts, but you know what? I don't need it to blast for my neighbors to hear. I just want it wherever I am right now. I honestly believe the way they tuned this speaker, it had to have been more of like studio monitors. It's not necessarily a flat EQ, but it's intended more, in my opinion, where how music is supposed to be sounding. What that means is like a sound engineer in the recording studio, when they're mixing everything, they use studio monitors. And those are tuned to a way to let you hear every nuance in the music being produced. That way you can hear if there's a mistake somewhere, or if a string breaks, or if something was slightly out of tune, you can really pick up on it. And I do believe that's how they tuned this speaker, because like I was saying, with all 3 devices, this speaker sounded different with all 3 devices. Of course, it's going to sound horrible with my Nexus 7, so I just kind of ignored that. But with my iPod, I still heard a lot of bass coming through. But it tended to be more on the high-end range, or the high. Meaning to the point where when I cranked this up all the way, you can really, it was almost to the point where it was hurting my ears with the high end. That's how just the iPod has been tuned, I guess. I don't know, but it just wasn't for me turned up all the way. But when I put on my Lumia, I didn't really have to adjust any sound settings on there. And that's why I used my Lumia as a sound sample for you. Didn't want to put it through the iPod because, eesh. But with this speaker, the bass comes out well-rounded. It's pretty deep. Now, if you're a bass head and you love heavy thumping bass, this speaker will not be for you, okay? But you do hear bass coming through. It does. I mean, if you happen to have this on you, or you're holding it, or like if you're wearing it on your side, you will feel a little bit of the vibration from the thumping from the bass, so that's really good. The mid-range really does punch through the mix on this speaker. So meaning the vocals are nice and crisp and clean. The high end is very, very well rounded and actually quite subdued, I found. It's not ear piercing at all. It seems like it's just the right amount of high end coming through this speaker. So basically what I'm trying to say is this speaker, for what it is, and especially being waterproof and a shower speaker, this thing sounds fantastic. I know you're not going to get a true sound off the audio sample I gave you, but this thing is definitely worth the money. So until the next video, you have a great day.